OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to NXT, and I am also back from Outcasted. Sorry I missed you guys last week. I was ill. There was nothing could be done. But Ross did a great job covering NXT for me last week, so let's hope I can live up to the standards of what he set last week. And he said yesterday then, because I'm thinking of Monday Night Raw and the standards that set yesterday. That was a wild episode of Raw. So can NXT deliver? Can it stand and deliver? I mean, no pun intended. Pun definitely intended. Yes, the answer is yes. Like at least at the very start, we get an opener of an absolute banger. We get Dijak versus Sean Spears, and these two guys just absolutely beat the hell out of each other in this match. It's unbelievable what we see here. It's a very unexpected match for me because obviously you've got two guys here that are on the rise. You've got two people here that you would assume would be in the North American Championship scene, which you do see later on. Spoiler. But neither person here, in my opinion, can really afford to lose this match, but obviously one does have to. The way they get around this is basically Joe Gacy is under the ring and he steals Sean Spears' chair. He does not see it at the time. But as Sean Spears is going for the victory, he notices that his chair has disappeared from the outside of the ring. And he's like, basically, what the hell? That distracts him enough to get put into the Feast Your Eyes by Dijak. And he wins with the 1, 2, 3. I was quite surprised that they let Sean Spears lose a match here in such a, he's only just come back. He's only just come back to NXT. So for me, you would want to, carry on his momentum. But I have full faith that Sean Spears is going to be, carry on being interested in NXT. And, Dijak being in the card for Stand and Deliver, fighting for that North American Championship. That is not a bad thing. I love Dijak. I think he's one of the most underrated guys on the roster. So I'm excited to see that match at Stand and Deliver. I am spoiling what's going on later on in the night. We don't know that he's going to be in the main event. Oh, sorry, the North American Championship main event at Stand and Deliver. But spoiler alert, he is, along with somebody else, and we'll get to that. Right, okay. We go backstage now to where Roxanne Perez is watching, a year ago today, she was the NXT Women's Champion. She's commenting on how pathetic she is and how she was just a girl who was excited to be there and, to take pictures with all the heroes. At the same time, she's cutting up all those pictures that she's took with all of her heroes, saying like, that old Roxanne Perez is dead. I let myself get too comfortable, blah, 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 blah. But one of the takeaways that I take away from this segment is how unbelievable Roxanne Perez is as a bad guy. And I don't mean that in a positive way. I mean, as in, I just don't believe anything what she's saying. It looks like it looks like a child having a tantrum. I'm sorry. And I just don't see it. I don't think she's a very good bad guy. Obviously, I'm a big critic of Roxanne Perez. I think she can have great matches when she's paired with the right person. But for me, she's just not a good bad guy. And like I said, it just comes off as a bit of a petulant child. We get Lyra Valkyria later on in the night commenting on, the title deserves better than Roxanne Perez. There's people out there who let the title break them or let the title make them. You let the title break you, and I'm going to do everything in my power to keep that championship away from you, Roxanne Perez. And I hope she does. I hope Lyra Valkyria, retains the NXT Women's Championship because I don't want it around Roxanne Perez. I don't think it's time for Roxanne to have that title back. I'm not behind this heel run that she's on at the moment. It's just not for me. It's just not for me. I understand that why people are a fan of her. I'm just not. I'm just not. Like I don't know what I want from Roxanne Perez, to be honest with you. Like because I was never a fan of her when she was a face, and I'm not a fan of her now that she's a heel. So I don't know. Maybe she's just one of those characters that doesn't click for me. Obviously there's people out there who you just are never going to click with, and that's fine because that character's not for you. So for me, I think that's probably going to be Roxanne Perez. I'm never going to get behind her, and I'm just going to have to accept that. Now we go to a match. We got Thea Hale versus Jasmine Nix, obviously JC Jane's, partner in crime. This is Jasmine's first match on the roster. She gets some good offense here in this match. JC Jane at one point tries to throw in the towel for Thea Hale, trying to, make it look like that Chase U is throwing in the towel again for Thea Hale. But as she throws in the towel, Riley Osborne jumps in the ring and catches it. But the referee looks at this and, says, what the hell's going on? Throws Chase U out of the building. That being Duke Hudson, Andre Chase, and Riley Osborne are all sent to the back, leaving Jacy Jayne and Jasmine Nix to have their way with Thea Hale until Thea Hale gets Jasmine Nix in the Kimura for a quick tap out. Obviously, Jacy Jayne then gets in the ring and starts beating down on Thea Hale. It's an assault from Jacy Jayne when Thea Hale starts to fight back, but then all of a sudden out of nowhere, Kiana James and Izzy Dame come in, and now it's a 3-on-1 assault. They're all beating down Thea Hale. Thea Hale has no assistance until it's just everyone's running in this match, I suppose, until Fallon Henley and Kalani Jordan run out to save the day. So now it's 3-on-3 and they get the advantage. Obviously, Kiana James and Izzy Dame get out of the ring. Jacy Jayne goes to get out of the ring, but she gets picked up and held in there by Thea Hale. But fortunately for Jacy Jayne, Kiana James is there to pull her out. So she is saved for now. She is not locked in the Kimura lock for now, but we will see how this progresses. Maybe it'll be a 6 women's tag team match at Stand and Deliver. I wouldn't mind seeing that maybe on the pre-show or something like that. I wouldn't mind seeing that whatsoever. I don't think it's over. I think it's far from over between Jacy Jayne and Thea Hale. I think that's probably going to be the big match at some point. You could make the argument that you could have that 6-person tag team match next week on the Go Home episode of NXT, and then maybe we get Jacy Jayne versus Thea Hale at Stand and Deliver. Again, a match that I wouldn't mind seeing. I think it's got enough build. I think the storyline has been told for over the past couple of months. Jacy Jayne going into Chase U, trying to destroy it from the inside. Thea Hale finding herself once again and becoming a fully fledged member of Chase U, having her faith restored into Andre Chase. It's a storyline, like I said, that I would love to see. Next, guys, we go backstage to where we are getting a look at, I think it's called Prime segment, or Prime Spot or something. Basically, it's a 3-part tonight, and it is taking a look at Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, telling the story about how they arrived in NXT. And I tell you what, this is one of the best productions I have seen in a long time from WWE. It really tells a story of Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. You get a couple of segments here where you get a couple of legends and a couple of main roster guys talking about how they are looking at this match. Guys like Randy Orton and CM Punk are commenting. Cody Rhodes eventually comments on it. CM Punk comes up with an interesting line here where he says, this is a prime example of human nature, where eventually, obviously, the best of the best, like, they're going to turn on each other and they're going to find out who is the most dominant. And he says that, there's a famous quote where if you're going to go for revenge, make sure you dig 2 graves. And he's talking about how Trick Williams has obviously had to lower himself to get back at Carmelo Hayes. Randy Orton says, obviously, because he's the Viper, he sees where both of them are coming from. He sees both sides of this story. Cody Rhodes says it is easy for him to see who is going to be winning this match, and it is going to be Trick Williams. I'm interested to see how this match goes. You look at WrestleMania weekend, you look at all the great matches that are going to be going on at WrestleMania nights 1 and 2. For me, Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes, I've been saying it for months, should definitely be the main event of Stand and Deliver. I think this would probably be the most interesting match of WrestleMania weekend. Definitely in the top 5 for me. What do you think of Trick Mello? Let me know in the comments. Are you excited for it? Do you think it's going to steal WrestleMania weekend? Do you think it's going to be one of the most interesting matches of that weekend? Let me know in the comments. What do I think of Trick Williams' story here? I think it's unbelievable. I think it's fascinating. You go back to Philadelphia and he introduces you to his uncle. They call him, what do they call him? I need to find this because like they call him something in particular. Hang on. It's like Sweet Daddy or something, or Uncle. Oh, yeah, there we go. Uncle Sweet Baby James. That's what they call him. Sweet Baby James apparently took Trick Williams in when he moved to Philadelphia, and he's the reason why he is wrestling. And he's going to be front row at NXT Stand and Deliver to see him beat Carmelo Hayes. We get a couple of interviews with his trainers, Trick Williams trainers, saying about how he's training more than ever. He is on fire, and he is going to whoop some ass at NXT Stand and Deliver. That is a 3-part series. It's probably going to be on the WWE YouTube channel if you want to go check that out. It's unbelievable. Definitely go give it a watch. It's a really nice watch to see. Speaking of something that's a pleasant surprise and a really nice watch to see, Lola Vice. is match. I'm not just talking about Lola Vice, guys. Shut up, you know. Lola Vice is in the ring, and it's because she has left an open challenge on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. And she gets into the ring and says, no matter who it is, she will beat them because she is Latina Heat and she looks hot doing it, and she will beat you down, basically. The open challenge is answered by none other than Natalia. Natalia is in NXT. It was met with a bit of a sigh for me. I was interested because I was talking about Natalia on a live a couple of days ago. But I was interested to see what was going on here. These two put on a decent match. Natalia and Lola Vice. This might be Natalia's best match in a long, long time. Carmen Petrovic comes out to distract Lola Vice, and it ends up working at the end of the day because Lola Vice gets rolled up by Natalia for the 1-2-3. Maybe Carmen Petrovic and Natalia are going to be, buddying for a little bit. Like I thought her and Tegan Nox were a thing on Monday Night Raw, but it's rumored that Natalia wants a bit of a faction with a couple of women on the NXT roster. If it was me, I would have Lola Vice in that faction. They're both great at submissions. Lola Vice has MMA background. Natalia obviously trained in the Heart Dungeon. That's a perfect fit for me. I would put Carmen Petrovic also in that faction. Carmen Petrovic is also great with martial arts. She's good with the submissions. That could make for something very interesting. There's a couple of other people who I would put in that faction, but I'll leave that for another separate video, hopefully. Let me know in the comments, who would you have in Natalia's faction? Like, there's a couple of people on the main roster and in NXT who are great at the whole MMA thing and the submission-based mat wrestling. So, like I said, let me know in the comments. When I go backstage to Sean Spears saying that Joe Gacy wasn't on his radar, but he is now. And before he can finish his interview, he gets shouted. He looks up and Joe Gacy is on top of the production truck. He drops his chair down and says, I forgot to give this to you. My bad, Sean Spears. Sean Spears looks absolutely flabbergasted and walks away. We look down, the camera looks down, and a foot steps on the chair, and we look back up, and it is Oba Femi. Joe Gacy says, oh crap, I didn't see you there, Oba. That looks like that chair nearly fell on you as well. And he just starts maniacally laughing, as Joe Gacy does. What else can you expect? We stay backstage now after the commercial break where Sol Ruka is looking to get revenge on Blair Davenport. We get Blair Davenport here in an interview saying that she hopes her ACL surgery went well and it looked, hopefully the doctors fixed it up well enough for you because I'm going to be coming after that next week and putting you back on the road to recovery. Essentially saying that she's going to put Sol Ruka back on the injured list. So we're going to be getting that match next week, Blair Davenport versus Sol Ruka. It's going to be nice to see Sol Ruka back in the ring. I love Sol Ruka. I think she's very, very talented. I think she's one of those people who can be considered maybe another Charlotte Flair, maybe another Tiffany Stratton eventually when she comes up to the main roster. I think she's full of natural talent and she can only grow further and further for me on that NXT roster. Sol Ruka for me is one of the most talented people in that division. We now go to the ring where it is Channing Stacks Lorenzo, the underboss of the D'Angelo family versus Ilya Dragunov. In this match, Stacks gets a lot of offense in here, like more than I thought he was going to get in, to be quite honest with you. He works on the hand of Ilya Dragunov. Obviously, Stacks and Tony D have done their research, and we know that the H-bomb that Ilya Dragunov hits obviously requires him to clench his fist. So Stacks is going after that, try to weaken that for stand and deliver. We see backstage that Luca Crucifino and Tony D'Angelo are watching this match intently. Eventually, all the offense aside, like that Stacks gets in. Obviously, Ilya Dragunov gets the advantage eventually and hits the Torpedo Moscow for the 1-2-3, but he is in a lot of pain. After the match, we see Tony D'Angelo telling Luca Crucifino to invite Ilya Dragunov to another dinner. Luca says, are we going to invite him to the restaurant again? And Tony says, no, we're going to invite him to the Cynical. And Luca looks shocked and says, is that a real place? Isn't that where you did that thing? And Tony says, yeah, it's where I did that thing. And it is a real place. And it's also for special occasions. So I need you to go and invite Ilya Dragunov to the Cynical for a special meal before the NXT Stand and Deliver. What is the Cynical? I'm sure we will find more about it when we will have that sit down. Hey, forget about it, between Tony D and Ilya Dragunov next week. But a little bit of interesting mafia lore there for you from the Tony D'Angelo family. The Cynical is where Tony does the most important things for the family. We stay backstage and we have Baron Corbin commenting on on Bron Breaker's tan. And he says, the tanning beds aren't really the sun. I think that's getting into your brain. And like, Bron Breaker's like, I know that, like you don't have to comment on my tan, like you with your pale ass. And they get interrupted by the OC, who are talking about how the Wolf Dogs need to do their job tonight and make sure that it is not a triple threat for the NXT Tag Team Championships at Stand and Deliver. Obviously, we know the Wolf Dogs are in the main event tonight against Alpha Academy. Next week we're gonna be having a final in the tournament. Whoever wins that goes to Stand and Deliver and gets into that NXT Tag Team Tournament. The tag teams in that match are the OC, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, the LWO, Joaquin Wild and Cruz del Toro, and Nathan Fraser and Axiom. So who's going to be challenging the Wolf Dogs for those NXT Tag Team Championships, and who is going to be in that main event? Is it going to be a singles main event, a classic main event, or is it going to be a triple threat for those tag team championships? We will have to find out later on tonight. Meanwhile, we get Ridge Holland in the ring, where he's basically saying he's coming out tonight. And this is not the news that he wanted to say. He didn't want to come out and say this to the NXT audience. He thanks William Regal. He thanks Shawn Michaels, both for seeing, potential in him. He is happy that he was able to, perform in front of millions of people every single week on WWE television. But with rugby and with wrestling, they're both physical sports and they both require positive mental health. They both require, physical and mental strength. And lately, he hasn't been doing that. For the sake of himself, for his family, being a great dad and a great husband, and for the sake of everyone else who he gets in the ring with, he is taking an extended, indefinite leave from WWE performances. He is not wrestling for a while now. He is leaving the WWE. Basically, he is taking an active, indefinite leave of in-ring performance. That's all I'm going to say about that. The NXT audience didn't really know how to react to this. There wasn't really that much of a response. But Ridge Holland is taking a break apparently from NXT TV, part of this storyline where he's trying to find himself. So fair play, whatever. I don't know. I don't really care. Bye, Ridge Holland. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, I suppose. I don't really know how else to react to that, to be honest with you. Next we have a great match here between Duke Hudson, Chase Yu versus Josh Briggs. And the winner of this match is very interesting to Dijak because he is on commentary. Obviously, we're talking about the North American Championship title picture here. Whoever wins this match is looking pretty decent in that North American title picture. These two just beat the crap out of each other. Another match where it's just two big meaty men slapping meat. Dijak on commentary, it keeps distracting Josh Briggs. Josh Briggs keeps looking at Dijak on commentary, which keeps costing him the momentum in the match. But eventually, he's able to put Duke Hudson down for the 1-2-3 by hitting him with that huge lariat clothesline, that JBL-esque lariat clothesline for the 1-2-3. After this match, Dijak takes off the headset at commentary because obviously Josh Briggs keeps staring at him and he's going to go handle the business in the ring. Before he can get into the ring, Obafemi's music hits and he is standing on the balcony. He says that it looks like finally he has two formidable opponents in the North American Championship scene. But unfortunately for you guys, I am the mountain and you're going to have to climb me to get to that North American Championship. But unfortunately for you, that is not going to happen. But me and the rest of these the rest of these fine people will pay good money to see you try. Later on in the night, after the whole Trick Mello Part 3 segment, we get that confirmed at NXT Stand and Deliver. We're going to be getting a triple threat match for the North American Championship. Dijak, Josh Briggs, and the champion Oba Femi. How would I book this match? I would have Dijak win this match because I think Oba Femi should move into the into the NXT Championship picture. I know it's like, a bit early for him, but I do believe that he is an over guy. I think he is a formidable opponent for whoever wins Tony D or Ilya Dragunov. And I think he's going to be a star in the making in the next couple of months in NXT. He's only improving, not just on the microphone, but in the ring. He's literally had less than 20 matches in his whole career. And I am invested in Oba Femi. So I would have him drop the title here. Maybe Dijak pins Josh Briggs so Oba Femi doesn't look weak in defeat. And then he moves on to the NXT Championship picture after WrestleMania weekend. But let me know what you think of that in the comments. Oba Femi is defending his championship in a triple threat match. That is going to be a very, very cool match to see. We also find out because we see the cameras getting messed with backstage. We see Aura Mensa messing with the cameras in the production truck, and then eventually hits the right camera, and it's all of Metaphor in the production truck, and they announce that they're going to be the hosts of NXT Stand and Deliver. And obviously, you can't have the biggest NXT show of the year without the biggest stars in NXT. So congratulations to the Metaphor for being the host of NXT Stand and Deliver. We then see Ariana Grace. It's like a bit of a Twitter video, picking out outfits, picking out clothes for Gigi Dolan. As you know, obviously Gigi Dolan lost that match a couple of weeks ago, where now she has to do everything that Ariana Grace tells her to, how to be a proper lady. So that's going to be interesting to see in the next couple of weeks. What's that? You know, where that's going to go. I'm down for that. I'm down to see it. I'm interested in seeing how they're going to tell that story. Next, we see that Lyra Valkyria, like I said last week, was commenting on what Roxanne Perez said earlier on in the night. I'm not going to go into that just because we've already discussed it. Now we see Ilya Dragunov backstage getting interviewed. How Tony D is smart, and so is Stacks. They worked on my hand. They've done their research. He was surprised that Tony D wasn't there. Luca Crucifino turns up and says, just when you think the Don, he does something completely unexpected. And then he hands him the the invitation to the Cynical. Ilya Dragunov looks very confused. He doesn't know what the Cynical is, but he's going to find out next week, as are we all. I'm really invested in the Tony D, the Ilya Dragunov situation, the Luca Crucifino becoming the Consigliere. I am really invested in Tony D and the whole mob boss mentality thing. I'm just so excited to see where this is going to go. Now, guys, we go to the main event, and it is the Alpha Academy versus the Wolf Dogs. If the Alpha Academy win this, they are added to the NXT Tag Team Championship match at NXT Stand and Deliver. There is nothing really to say about this match. I just want to talk about the spots in this match. First of all, oh my God, Bron Breakker is one of the most athletic people I've ever seen on this roster. So there is a segment in this match where the Alpha Academy have the advantage. Baron Corbin is on the outside of the ring. Bron Breakker is by himself. He is on Otis's shoulder. He has tagged in Akira Tozawa. As Akira Tozawa comes off the ropes for a kind of doomsday device maneuver, Bron Breakker catches this man and hits a belly-to-belly style Spanish fly off of Otis's shoulders. I don't think I've ever seen anything so athletic in my life. So just to paint a picture, Akira Tozawa is coming off the top rope while Bron Breakker is sat on Otis's shoulder. He hits a Spanish fly belly-to-belly suplex onto Akira Tozawa. I don't even know what to say about that. It was absolutely unbelievable to see. They get Otis outside the ring, do the Wolf Dogs, by the way, and then put Otis through a table. And then it's pretty much over for Akira Tozawa because obviously he's still woozy in the ring. And Baron Corbin hits a powerbomb chokeslam onto Akira Tozawa. He flips him up so he's standing right into a spear from Bron Breakker for the 1, 2, 3. Wow. This match was good, like I say. Not really much like to talk about. I'm not going to talk about every single move that happened in that match because it is just overshadowed by the big spots that are in that match. We get great spots from Otis, like the power maneuvers, but oh my God, Bron Breakker is like the most interesting, athletic, fascinating guy on that roster. He can just do it all. That Spanish fly belly to belly was unbelievable. Putting Otis through the table. The beef is right out of their seats, as Vic Joseph describes it. And whoever wins the final tournament match next week it's going to be a great match regardless. Like LWO, Nathan Fraser, Axiom, or the OC. I'm interested in any of those teams facing the Wolf Dogs at NXT Stand and Deliver. Speaking of which, they all come out and have a massive brawl to put NXT off the air. But what did you think of NXT this week, guys? Let me know in the comments. What was the best part of NXT this week? What was your favorite match from NXT this week? Was there anything that caught your eye in particular from NXT this week? Let me know in the comments. If you like this video and if you like the review and if you like everything that I said, make sure Sorry, I was just looking for the turn off button because we're about to end. I'm just wrapping up. Make sure you leave your thoughts, like I say, in the comments below. Make sure you leave a thumbs up if you like this review. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not already so you don't miss any of our videos. We're in WrestleMania season, so we're ramping up the content for you guys. In the description is going to be our individual channels on TikTok and Outcasted OC, where you can find us on X/Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok. Make sure you go and like all of those pages, guys. We absolutely love your support heading into WrestleMania season. But for now, make sure you stay tuned because we're going to be discussing the Slammy Awards that have been announced and who we think we should win tomorrow on the podcast. Make sure you go check out Courtney's amazing review of Monday Night Raw from an amazing show on Monday. And that was released yesterday. And make sure you stay tuned for Saturday morning because we're going to be getting a SmackDown review out there for you guys from Ross or G. But like I said, guys, I hope you have an absolutely amazing rest of your Wednesday. Have a great rest of your week. I will see you tomorrow and I will see you next week for another great episode of NXT. And then on Saturday for Stand and Deliver. Take care, guys. Peace out.